It's fantastic to have the opportunity now to welcome to the stage Emmanuel, our founder, and Ika, our law lead. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. So you want me to introduce myself? Is that sorry?
Yeah, that would be perfect. Maybe give our audience a little insight on your background and say a few lines about yourself. What kind of games do you like playing?
Yeah. Wow. I like obviously strategy games. So been developing a game called Apocius. I believe we will talk more about that. Together with my brothers for quite some time, many years, a lot of sweat and tears and almost blood, and it's also been a lot of fun and a lot of pride and like the game you showed before, Aposius, that's the game we have been developing. But before that, I've been working as a consultant for Ericsson for 5 years. Started out in the gaming industry as as a game developer. Been doing a lot of programming, and for the last 10 years, I've been leading and building tech teams of different sizes. I love like scalability. Uh, I'm very interested in technology and also, of course, in gaming. And when it comes to what kind of games I like, it's of course like the old classical RTS games, but also more VFX based strategy games like Hooligans, Emergency, uh, Gangsters. I don't know if anyone can relate to those games, but
I have not
yeah.
played those myself, but yeah, those old OG titles, I think a large part of our team would have definitely been around in that, that kind of glory age, playing some StarCraft 2 and that sort of thing. I seem to recall a lot of times my brother would be playing that for absolute hours. I'll just watch him. So I think a lot of people in our team are from that kind of background. But yeah, thanks for saying a few words about yourself, Emmanuel. It's great to have you here. And I'll pass the stage on to Ika, who is our law lead. Would you like to give the audience a little bit of a background?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my name is Ika, and I'm the lead lore at Landell Games. And unsurprisingly, I really enjoy writing and fantasy, especially like RPG games. And since starting at Landell, I've also started to dabble in more RTS games, which I've been really enjoying. Warcraft has been really fun, and a bit about my background is I studied games design and creative writing in university. So that's where I kind of got my love for just writing for specifically video games. And it's been a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of fun building the world behind Apotheus while working at Landell Games. And yeah, that's it for me.
Very cool. That's awesome that you mentioned you've been inspired to go back to like some old school RTS or like dabble in that a little bit. I've also
Mm.
found that since I joined the team, I've downloaded a copy of Warcraft 2, so I have incidentally been playing that too. It's so good. Like you can't go wrong with the golden era. It's like there's something so fun about it,
Yeah.
something so nostalgic. So I'm glad it's not only me that has caught the old school bug. So yeah, it's fantastic to have you both here. What we're gonna do now is to have a sort of Q&A segment, if you like. We'll have Ika asking both myself and Emmanuel questions, and then we'll give you guys a little more insight as to how our minds work, and then you get to see as an audience kind of like our views and perspectives on various issues that we deal with. So it might be something relating to me as a community manager, how that plays into my day-to-day role, or just kind of having reflections on the conference thus far and stuff as well. So yeah, are you happy to proceed, guys? Do you need to get any snacks or drinks before we get started? Or are you all set?
I have
No,
more
it's
water here.
cool.
That's all I need.
Perfect. Perfect.
It looks so
Good to
much
see.
more cozy where you are, Ika, than where I am. But
Yeah, I
it's
had to shut down all the windows so it would look like I'm like in heaven or something.
I had to go into
It's
one of
really
these
bright
meeting
behind me.
boxes. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, so if I'll pass the stage to Ika to get the questions going. If you'd like to maybe I'll go first and I'll answer something and then maybe I'll pass it to Emmanuel. That might be kind of fun to get a little from
Yeah.
someone each time. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Yeah, the first question I have for you, Alex, is how do you balance the desires of hardcore strategy fans with the need to attract new players?
That's a good question, and yeah, the hardcore strategy fans we've just been talking about, the era such as Warcraft 2. We had a lot of people, talking about how they loved how Command and Conquer revolutionized the scene and AOE, those classics that stand out in the RTS genre. So how do you reconcile what we're trying to do, uh, to bring that kind of golden era back in a sense, and also attract new players? It's a good question. But our fundamental approach is kind of to incorporate the features of those forerunners that I mentioned, like AoE and StarCraft, the systems of like resource gathering and base building, and of course our draw point, which is the legendary battles. You saw there maybe the difficulty in the content creators trying to find each other on the map, and that was the smaller map. So is going to be a huge scale of things to come. We'll merge the kind of vision to bring back the golden era with the new technologies available some 2 decades later after those games that came to define that golden era. And something that we've been using to hook in new viewers is some advertising on platforms like TikTok and Snapchat as well, to hit a new and younger demographic and make them aware, like, yeah, RTS could be like really cool to try. So we're like mixing and dabbling different approaches. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes.
And the next question is for Emmanuel. Being one of the founders of Landell Games, what inspired you to start a new game studio, and how has your vision evolved since starting it?
Mhm. Well, it started out. So Simon, the CEO, he realized I have a brother with almost 20 years of experience from shipping products and building stuff, and I have another one that is like a 3D artist, good at animation. This is Jonathan, rigging, texturing, and so on. And himself, he had an idea. He had an idea that he probably like grew for many years, and at some point he has said like, "Hey, we are far away from each other. We live in different cities. Why don't we do something on the weekends?" So we started actually as a project, and then we realized like, okay, we want to invest more time into this. So the project became a product became a company, and that is part of the development. But also like we are learning a lot of things along the road. Um, this is the first conference that we are hosting. I think it's super exciting. But also like we are growing all the time, and I think like we are very agile and flexible and trying to be something different, like I guess like niche ourselves as a place to learn and grow. So yeah.
It's nice that you can have this to kind of get closer again.
Yeah,
Uh,
sometimes, most times it's nice. It's like
has there been family drama because of it?
is that a follow-up question? So I can tell you like there's
No, you don't
been
have to
very
answer that.
intense. Okay, I can do that anyways. There's been like
Okay.
drama, but mostly from the mother. So when we are all having like a
Oh,
Oh,
board meeting on her balcony, and she wants us to sit and like like I don't know, open Christmas presents or watch TV or do something, take a walk, and we are like, no, no, now we are all together now. So I guess like that could be counted in.
see.
mm.
Uh, and then back to you, Alex. What role do influencers and content creators play in your marketing strategy?
That's a really good question. I should preface that by saying part of my responsibility as well from the time I've joined Landell, which was very recently, by the way, 3 weeks ago. I have been responsible for both kind of departments, kind of like both marketing and community management. So it's been a little balance of both. So that should preface the response I'm about to give. So in relation to what you bring up, it's crucial these days to get influencers and content creators on board. It can be like a make or break decision whether like a content creator with a platform of say 30,000 will create a little hype, and then about 500 members of his community will click the link. like 100 of those will then wishlist the game. Maybe we'll get, like 30 sales off of the back of that. So they play a crucial element of, the metrics which will come to define the success of the game moving forward. But to address it more specifically, as you've seen today, we've been blessed to work alongside some big names in the RTS space and beyond, such as those brilliant creators who've contributed to the conference. And we understand that they have phenomenal reach and impact, and it's organic. So influencers have and are dedicated to form collaborations and partnerships to continue building hype for the game. And that's how we can better raise awareness of our game in the diverse audiences that they have. So I think it's a pretty crucial element to any good marketing strategy.
And it was really fun seeing that video. I really enjoyed the random encounter in the middle.
It's just the look of shock on his face. I'll never forget it. It was
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
I think that's the type of things that makes those games so fun. Um, okay, back to Emmanuel. Oh wait, do you have any reflections from Peter's initial speak about RTS games?
Yes. So one thing he said, it was like almost reading my brain, but what good games have there been? Like since Warcraft or Age of Empires or those games like 20 years ago. How come that everyone knows about them and there aren't really any like names that is truly taking over um, that glory times, you know? So that's also what we really started with and what we wanted to do. So that's one thing, and then we had a lot of different opinions, and it was quite fun also when the kid came in the end. I think it was a good speech, but that part especially I could relate to that. Like those old good games, I would love to play a new version of them again. And when they are trying to make remakes, usually they don't end up so good. Seen that with Age of Empires, we've seen that with Warcraft. Like the follow-ups is usually like it doesn't have uh, the same soul as the originals have.
Yeah, and
So
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
I
really
would agree.
nice
There's
to
there's
like
there's been
bring back.
nothing that yeah, exactly. It's like Ika saying, it's good. It's always nostalgic to hear about those games because they're such a fundamental part of what came to define the genre. And you're right. I think there's a little bit of a market gap right now. So it's good that we have that vision in mind. It's something that drives us every day to draw on that, but build it back with like a revamped vision. So that's like the fundaments of what we're looking to create. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. Uh, and another question for you, Alex. What have you been your like key highlights or favorite moments so far working at an indie dev RTS studio?
Oh God, there's so many. It's gonna be hard to kind of boil it down to one or two things. I think just looking back at how we were able to showcase the two creators going up against one another, just the fact that a project that we put hard work into is being kind of like recognized and there's cool feedback from them. I felt that was really fantastic. But for me, overall as well, just to go back to the question, for me, the passion and the dedication of the team behind it is something that's super evident to me when I come and hang out with the various teams that we have at Landell Games. The animators, the programmers, they're all working so hard to bring this vision to fruition as a collective. So it's all about the teamwork. That's been like the standout aspect of my time so far at Landell Games. It's clear to me that like the devs, the lore team, the animators, hell, even the HR team, like everyone is pitching in and everyone is doing their bit to make this special vision a reality, make it fantastic, make it something that's going to be, captivating for people. And we're such a close knit team. We genuinely enjoy getting through, this kind of technical hiccups and challenges that we face every day. For us, that's like our life fuel. It's really fantastic to see that. And it's good to have the support of your good friends when you're trying to build something special.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that last statement. Um, okay, Emmanuel, what inspired you to start this Landell Games conference? And how do you think it's been going so far?
What we were talking about in the beginning is like trying to find a good fit for us as a gaming studio. And I remember when I started in the gaming industry that the gaming companies were the best places to be at. They had the best core values. They had um, the best perks. They had uh, the best opportunities for the future, for growth, for learning. But I think a lot of gaming companies went away from that, and it started becoming more cooperative. And it was one of the speakers before that said that I think it was maybe Ben that it became all very much numbers. Like after some time, like less about making uh, that thing you really wanted to do. So we are trying to position ourselves as a place to grow and learn, a place where you can make mistakes, but you can also learn from them, and we can learn from each other, and we can grow together. That was uh, the spark for this conference and the idea behind it. Like, can we bring some really cool people together and some really good events, and then create a conference around this? It would be for free. It would be for people to learn. It would not be for us to advertise. Like so that was the idea. On the second part, how it's going, I think it's going brilliant. I think it's very interesting.
How do you manage differing opinions within the community when it comes to like game features? This is for you, Alex,
Okay,
by the way.
that's a yeah, that's an interesting question. Of course, any good community manager, the key behind that is communication. So it's always important, I think, to listen to the various voices that might be being shared within the community and incorporate the feedback. That's something that a lot of other successful studios, such as Jagex, for instance, have been able to really shine in. Um, that's such a key aspect to make sure that the audience feels kind of in sync with you, that you're listening to the input, and then that you genuinely take that into account, and that will then inform the kind of deployment of content that you're building in the studio. And we as developers, we recognize that to listen is crucial, and it's a fundamental component of what can connect us as a studio, as a brand, and kind of create a lasting impact and belonging for those in our community. We don't shy away from those kind of opinions that might surface that are like contrary to one another. We give people a platform and we embrace spirited debate amongst them. We use the chance to learn and interface with the community. And we feel that like a fantastic option has been to present the community with different designs, choices for things such as like the UI screen in game. So we've done that a couple times in our Aposius Discord. We have a channel called Requests and Suggestions, for instance, and game voting. So it's stuff like that that can really make the community's voice heard, and also give people a platform to exchange those differing opinions and to put them to a vote, see who will win.
Yeah, and I think that's really good because a lot of games they miss that part, like listening to the actual community, which is what makes this so great. Um, Anyways, I have a question for you again, Emmanuel. I know you're located in Africa, and can you relate to what Ben, who previously spoke, said about the African gaming industry?
I do think like the publishers all over the world are a special breed, or like there is too many people that they are not ready to take risk, and they should not be working, I think, as publishers or investors, because they are not generating any return of their values. So like that part I can really relate to. I think it's not only in Africa but all over the world. But then I think that one of the interesting parts with Africa and the gaming scene is like there is so many, or here where I'm in Rwanda, there is so many uh, young individuals that wants to like become game developers, but there is no schools or universities that is doing that.
Yes,
So
then
so
it's nice.
there is no universities that is focusing on games because there is no studios that is going to hire people afterwards, and for that reason, like there is no publishers, at least in this part of Africa.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I think
it's
like
quite
that part is
interesting
very,
insights.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting insights. You touched on some points that Ben also raised. It's a matter of like kind of getting that infrastructure going, because if you're missing one element, then the others are kind of weaker, and then if you're missing two elements, it's almost impossible to kind of get that space going where you have that ecosystem that is healthy and vibrant, where game production can take place. If you compare that to, for instance, to more established places like North America or Europe or even China, which is now like getting more and more prominent with the gaming scene. Like that ecosystem is really really healthy because there's so much competition, and I think essentially that harks back to the fact that they have those game development programs in the schools and universities, and then they have those publishers in place because they see the funnel of new talented individuals that are flooding the market, and it's more feasible for a lot of people now to create those kind of indie or even solo developer projects, which are really cool. So I think that will come to Africa in time, and we can harness the kind of creative potential that is untapped there in, I don't know, like 50 years, or maybe even sooner than that if we're being optimistic.
Yeah. It's really interesting topic, all of that. Uh, so another question for you, Emmanuel. What did you think about the playtesting that we had today with influencers?
Uh, I don't know if I was the only one that was noticing that little debug. Maybe it's because I'm a coder. So like there was this little box
Mm.
with the red stuff popping up. God, I wish AI could just have removed that on the fly. Because for the programmer part of me, I have to say it like that. That was like the only thing that I felt like ouch, 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 ouch. But I think that the fact that like they seem to have fun, and like they are so experienced, both of them, and I think first of all they are very like I'm a huge fan of both of them, but um, I was very like satisfied with like that it seemed to be really fun for them at least, and that they seem to really enjoy it and see what we're trying to do here. So I guess that's what I would say about it. There is also this. I remember watching the movie about like uh, when they were releasing the iPhone, and every time that things went good, like every 5 minutes, no, sorry, every 10 seconds, they open a new bottle of champagne, and I can relate to that when you are doing things uh, live as well, when you're seeing things happening in front of you, like yeah, you don't know how their network is. You don't know anything about their computers. They don't know so much about our game. The only thing they get is Alex and access to the game, and that was the entire idea. And we were brave, and I think it turned out like very genuine and quite fun and nice. I'm I'm super happy. I'm very proud for the team that made that possible. Um, Developers,
Yeah.
artists, and the effects, everyone involved.
Absolutely. If I can just build on that point as well, what came to shine was kind of like the improvement in the game infrastructure, and that's really a testament to how hard everyone has been working behind the scenes to ensure that we get the new builds up, and to ensure that we continue to hone and refine everything. So that's something that has kind of stood out to me in their showcase. And for me, another cool aspect was just being part of those conversations with those guys. For instance, talking about voice acting with the Rad was a lot of fun, and like as you heard there, obviously a little showcase of the Scottish accent there that I did during the video. So that was a lot of fun, and I think those two, the personalities
Amazing.
went really well together. And
You should voice
yeah,
act
they
too.
just thank you, thank you. I'm not sure I'm cut out for voice acting, but maybe we can do some trials. I'll stick to community management for now. But yeah, it was just really phenomenal to be around, like, because content creators, they bring a certain kind of vibe and energy, and they make you feel at ease, and then you kind of like you're just kind of swept away in the entertainment they so easily able to provide. So for me, it was like being a passenger on, like, I don't know, some fighter jet, just seeing all this unfold in front of me, and it was just brilliant. So I was happy to be a part of that and to answer their questions, talk to them. It was just the full package. It was brilliant.
Yeah. And a question for both of you. We can start with Alex answering. What is your favorite part of the game?
Ooh, that's another good question. To let me think. There's so many cool things about Opposius that you can mention. But I think all in all, something that has always kind of captivated me is the art style. I'm a huge fan of, like, the 3D models that the team has been able to put together, whether those be, the kind of buildings, the guild hall, the various upgrades, but also the units. They're like so meticulously designed, and something about them just looks so cool. It's really eye-catching, I think, Opposius, in terms of, like, the art direction, the units, buildings, and landscapes managed to create, like, a project that just leaves a unique impression. And for me, it has made me fall in love with the game. So I hope it will do the same for our audience. It's very charming and unique, I think.
Yeah, and what about you, Emmanuel? What's your favorite part?
Of the game or
Yeah,
the journey.
the game. Yeah, we can say both. The
I
game and the journey.
but I have to say it's like being part of it. Like you can feel what hundreds of people did 20 years ago, or thousands of people. I don't know how many they were at. Game companies like Blizzard, for example, and we are like a small indie studio trying to do it with modern like technology, and trying to like not change so much of the history, but still make a great game. And I guess one of the best parts is I love those old good RTS games, and it allows me every Friday 4 o'clock to play a new version of the Warcraft 3 or Age of Empires or some similar game that we want to build. And I think that's super fun, and working together with really competent and smart people. Yeah, so I love it. That's what I can say, I guess.
Yeah. And Emmanuel, can you tell me a bit about Aposius? Um,
Well,
what, where did the title come from?
so the original title we decided to not use, which was Dawn of Empires, because there was another company that thought it sounded a bit like their games, maybe one of the games that I mentioned before. So we got the trademark in Sweden, but not in Europe. Then another corporation, a big one, said like, we think it sounds too much like our game. So we already decided that the map or the world that we're creating, like I guess you can say like Narnia or something like that, um, that was going to be called Aposios, and and then that's what we're building the game around now, kind of. Yeah.
I think it's a really
So
good title.
yeah, what we wanted to do with Aposios is just old school RTS. I've said it a few times by now, but I haven't said with a massive scale and enormous units. And that's where the headache is coming. I can see why they didn't go that route.
And we did
Yeah,
have
and
another question from the Twitch chat you might be able to address as well, from Sting Dragon 2. It is a comment relating to something Derad said in relation to the scale of things. So it's quite relevant, as you mentioned, those larger units. The question goes, but if the buildings are huge and the people are tiny, as in the units, won't the people be hard to click when zoomed out? How are we addressing that?
The technical issue, you mean, or the
Yeah, so the viewer's concern, I think, was that the scale of the units in comparison to the buildings might sometimes make it difficult to select them or click them when you're zoomed out. Is there anything
yeah.
we can do, like infrastructure wise, to address that, or is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, we try to like use different kinds of smart technology there to kind of work around those things. And so, for example, if we take the other way around, we implemented a tactical scale. So when you zoom out, you just see like really like 2D sprites instead of seeing all of those different units. And it's not only for LOD, like for performance. It's also because you can better see the troops as bigger blobs or groupings of a color, and you can see like how they're navigating. And then on the same time, we also implemented a 360 turn it like what's it called like camera scroll turnaround. I'm not sure
Rotation.
how to, yeah 360 rotation that you didn't have, at least as I remember it in the uh, old school RTS games. So you can actually rotate behind the building, for example, to select the units. And then like yeah, of course we try to figure out like what does the user want to do at this time, and trying to help them a bit with that. So
Hmm.
to kind of if they are close enough, uh, it might be good enough if we can really see like that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
I would
No,
say
that
like
does. Yeah.
one of the challenges for us is the with new players, like the ones that haven't maybe played the old games. They still have heard about them, but they haven't like played the old school RTS, and you know, helping them to understand how how to do research gathering, how to go into combat, um, and you know, how to repair your buildings and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, something that was a feature to that kind of front was that comes to mind is kind of tool tips that would display at the beginning of each campaign map you would do in Warcraft 2. It would be like just give you some insight. Oh, you can select multiple units by dragging left mouse button over where they're positioned. So would we be looking to kind of like influence new players with that kind of tooltip system? Would we have like a dedicated tutorial, or has it not been like coming to that stage of fruition at this point in time?
you you mentioned before like we're going to go with Kickstarter in like 3 days. I think it will be a little bit more than
Mm-hmm,
that. So I think
mm-hmm,
like maybe we can say September instead of beginning of September, because that feels very close right now compared with all the
mm-hmm.
marketing we have done for
Yeah, yeah,
this conference. But I would say
yeah.
like if the Kickstarter goes as we want, we're going to be able to integrate a campaign into the game, and that's going to be good enough. But it depends a bit on
Mm-hmm.
like how we sort out this funding issue that I guess somehow became also um, a red thread to through the many subjects that we had on the conference during the day.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's uh, it's something that we have to refine, but nonetheless, we are very excited to get the Kickstarter underway at a date to be announced in September. I think we've come to the end of the questions we had for this segment. We did get a comment from the user Sting Dragon 2. He actually said this feels so much like Warcraft or Age of Empires, same as user above. So seems we are doing something right if people are starting to see that kind of vibe shine through. I was really happy when I read that. That has made me smile. That was a cool comment to get.
It's good feedback. Yeah,
And
and thank you for your great
Emmanuel, did you?
answers.
Yeah, yeah, and we appreciate you joining us to ask the questions. Thank you for the questions.
And
Hopefully, not too many unexpected ones for Emmanuel about family drama, but
but I also think like we can elaborate on that for a long time, because we also get to very good conclusions in the end.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh, Maybe it's a good time to say also, Alex, thank you for I guess the great job you have done during the day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I would like to additionally pass 50% of the praise down to the unsung hero of the day, Mr. Ross, who has graciously volunteered as host and has been in charge of all the overlays, the audio. So all of that production you see before you, beside me creating it in the background, he has been pulling the levers. He's the puppet master. So shout out to Ross as well for helping out today. It's been a lot of fun to work with you these last days to prepare, and has been a lot of fun to host today. So I really appreciate having the opportunity to bring you this event in the collaboration with my colleagues here. It's been a super fun.
Yeah, thank you so much.